Hey guys, welcome back to Confirmed RM YouTube channel. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day getting ourselves back into another technicals video looking at XRP, Bitcoin, and such in the market. So, nothing too crazy happening throughout here within the past 24 hours. Even maybe I guess you could say in the past 2 days, because this is our new day here. This was today and yesterday. Yesterday absolutely just got rejected. We made our video on Thursday saying, if we can hold ourselves, get up above there at that 50, 59 to that 60 region, we could see ourselves up to the upper boundary region up there to around that 63. But we're still stuck in this trend. You guys know we zoomed out. It looked like around the 1st of April by the weeks of it. But at the moment, got a nice draw back on Friday and coming right back down to that same support we kind of saw. Obviously not all the way down there to 54, but we saw 57. 57 keeps seeming to be that sort of support. But if we're going to kind of go off of this and kind of go to the wayside and see how things are going to wind up being like for the next couple weeks, we could even give ourselves kind of a short-term kind of ceiling, a short-term kind of expectation. Could be something more sort of like that for a ceiling on that side. It could be more of something sort of like this on the bottom side. Just rising up here till around at 60 by, the 21st, which would be about in a week. It could be something like that. We could even give ourselves a trend line from the top here, go across, and you can see that there's something, we're battling a resistance here. But perhaps we don't go in that range. I mean, it could make sense to do something like this and then do the same thing on the bottom side, and you can see it's going to become to some sort of, breakout region within the, the next day or so, which looks like actually Sunday later in the day, and we can see ourselves back up around 58.5. Obviously, it doesn't seem anything crazy just because of where we are. But regardless, I'll keep ourselves with maybe on the downside like this. You could, right there, you can see, that this is what we could be riding ourselves into but up here until Monday, the 22nd. No, so we could really just kind of meander sideways up and over. But if we zoom out a little bit, you can see that if things were really just to go to the wayside, we still have ourselves a nice support down here at that 54. Even if we get the wicks down here to that 50. Still at 53.6, but we were talking about this for a long time. Regardless, even before any of this were to happen, even a month ago, if anything were to drastically happen, we still have the bottom side of this trend line, which has always been here as a saving grace for a very long time now. Even over here, obviously for a little while here in March, it was kind of scary. Thought we were actually going to be breaking through it, but we wound up actually coming through and holding it as a support after it was kind of a weak resistance. So at the moment, like I'm saying, kind of just going sideways. I mean, it's just super volatile after having the ETF, the approval. But you guys always know what it is. It's always sell the news, but buy the rumor, sell the news. In that same sort of trajectory, I guess you could say. But even if you were to write something like this from the bottom to the top, I mean, it shows that it's going to wind up doing something within the next, like I said, day or so, popping up there to around that 618 right there, around 29,000. But you can see it's just going to wind up bouncing around this region anyway. So it's not really something too crazy to really even say about XRP in that regards. But I would say the RSI ain't really saying too much, not in my eyes. I mean, obviously, we came up to up here on 70, got rejected here on the 4-hour, and came back for a support line, which looks like around that 42 makes sense. So it looks more like, to me, we're just going to wind up going sideways here at that 40 before we can actually get the cross through here on the RSI, and then I can see us getting a wave pushing up here to around that 60. Excuse me. So regardless, BTC just taking an absolute, break. Its dominance is actually going down quite a bit since we had seen that pump up there on Tuesday. But it looks like that's because Ethereum has definitely come up out of the woodwork and really pushing up to the upside. Even with the fall of Ethereum, I mean, in comparison to Bitcoin, I mean, Ethereum's holding up a little bit better in comparison, because if we're going to talk about Ethereum pushing up from the bottom here to that top, got 25% with a about a 10% correction. Bitcoin, if we were to do the same thing, Bitcoin from that bottom here, I could say is right here to here, only about a 22, but really 19% with how much, let's see how much we could say for a correction here. A lot heavier of a correction, but that's when we get to the weird, interesting spot here with Bitcoin. We were talking about the fact that we could see something sort of like this out of this region, but I told you guys yesterday in the video, it was definitely going to be, actually it was on Thursday, it was going to be hard to guess this region because of our, not getting through this 1618 and not really holding on to this $46,816 mark. But did we expect a straight volatility right back to the downside? I mean, it was kind of inevitable to see us get back down to that 43. We had already thought that. But remember, we were also saying that that it would be the bottom side of this parallel channel. I think this actually goes back to this parallel channel, which is kind of interesting that it came right back to the bottom of that. So we had the parallel channel here that was going from October to December, so it would be this length right here. We got our breakout, which it overextended itself and went really crazy, but then got ourselves back down to this region, retested it a few times, the middle of the region, because this is technically was the middle of our parallel channel right here. I can actually highlight it so you guys can see it, which is right here. You can see that we came out, back tested, tried breaking out, back tested, and a lot of back tests. But then finally, not getting through that 1618 here on this time frame, saw us come back down to the bottom of this again. So what's crazy is that we're technically just kind of barely holding on here. We're wicking through it. So I'm definitely intrigued to see how we continue. If we do wind up falling through here, I would expect that full retest down there to that $40,179 mark that's on the table. Obviously, it's not too much more than what we saw back here on the Friday the 12th. So that was yesterday. So if we're unable to keep up the steam and we actually see here on the RSI, we come back up and hit it and get rejected and go a little bit further, you could be seeing that. I mean, we have met a threshold here that we saw here on the 11th, that we saw here on November 13th, but we've seen ourselves get pushed pretty low before. So let's just keep our heads on a swivel. What will keep me on the ball game is also monitoring this MACD, because this MACD is pretty, we were pretty oversold and things are starting to come back up. So it looks like things might curtail a little bit to the upside. And what we could wind up doing there with that would be, say using this sort of ceiling right here, which actually extends all the way out to here. So you can use this sort of ceiling, this sort of downside right there, and we can see it comes out to like a Monday target, and you see that sideways, for the next couple days, which would bring us out to right there, which you could see if we were to draw on it, would start to move up till that apex day right here, and we can actually start a rally back up there, get to the middle of the channel around 44 and a half, 40, about 45 if it wanted to push up to the middle, but 45,000. But we can get rid of this for now. We can get rid of, we'll get rid of this one for now too, and we'll keep that ceiling there. We'll actually keep this middle of the region because that's a good idea, having this middle of the region here. So I think it would push up to that 44.5. That would make most sense if we actually get that indicator, if we're actually able to break through here in the RSI and push to the upside. So at least here on Bitcoin, it's just going to be really monitoring and seeing if we can hold on to this $42,571 mark. If we really wanted to get into the nitty gritty, go to like an hour chart, you can see right here that realistically it moves itself down a little bit more. If we're going to use a high to our low here, so our high to our low, you're looking at, it makes sense where we're going to be going through it. So you're going to want to break through 42,990, and then we can possibly see that mark, first seeing 43,551, and then getting that extension up there to, about 44,707. So around that, a little overextension if it were to push to the upside. But you're just getting to the weird nitty-gritty stage of things if you're going to be trying to trade the volatile nature of what's going on right now, because, you know, the ETF stuff and then just seeing everything get absolutely decimated afterwards. It just makes sense. It's what happens. But regardless, guys, it's just a correction. It needed to happen. Everything went flying upwards. You know, if we want to going lower, we have a little bit lower numbers we can go to, 40,000, you know, Bitcoin. That's the stopping point. But otherwise, XRP, the same thing, being there on that 54 still, if it winds up pushing down. But XRP is still looking decent as well. So nothing's throwing up crazy flags. Everything is just, you get that return back to home. You get the solidification, and then we can talk about the price moving forward. Well, you know, dust has to settle for a little bit here. Everything's playing catch up, especially here in the MACD and the RSI. But hope you guys are having a good morning, afternoon, evening, everywhere. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day or weekend, wherever you are. And I'll see you guys on the next one.